What's up, everybody? It's Dave Swift here, and in this video, I'm going to be reviewing Cayzu, a new help desk solution that's positioning itself as a cheaper option to Zendesk. Now, Zendesk is very established. Everybody knows what it is. It's got tons of features, but it also has a hefty price tag. So my goal for this video is to show you all of the features of Cayzu, both on the front end and the back end, so you can decide if it's a good fit for your business. Now, before we get into that, I've just got two quick things. First of all, if you found this video through a YouTube suggestion and you are a digital entrepreneur, you own a small business, anything like that, make sure you click the like button, consider subscribing so that Google or YouTube know that they've sent the right traffic to this video. Second of all, this is a completely unbiased review. I do have a link down below, so if you find Cayzu to be a good fit for your business, you can click on that and I will earn a small commission if you do so, but it's not going to influence anything that I say in this video. All right, that said, let's get into it. All right, so here we go. This is the user interface for Cayzu. Let's start off with kind of a general overview, and then we'll get into some more of the specifics. All right, so this is the unresolved ticket screen, or all of the tickets. Right now, I've just got the default ticket that comes in when you create a new account. It says, welcome to Cayzu Help Desk, and you can see it's from John Doe. It's got a status, a priority, and when it was last updated. I can also assign these tickets. So if I had multiple people working on my Cayzu account, I could click on it and I could assign it to a different agent. I haven't got any other agents set up right now, so we'll come back to that a little bit later. Let's go ahead and open up this ticket, see what it looks like. You can see the message from the contact right down here. So you can imagine this is a support request. Hey, this isn't working for me. Help me fix this. And I can leave them a reply right here. I'll say, hello, John. We're working to fix this soon. I'll be in touch. All right, let's go ahead and then we'll go ahead and send an update. All right, then you'll see this email will show up in the chain right here. Now I can see that this is going through email because that's the source right here. There are other sources that we can connect up, and we'll be looking at that a little bit later. All right, let's just go ahead and look at this right-hand sidebar, make sure we don't miss anything. Up top, we've got the sender of the initial support ticket. You can see it's sent via email. Here is their email address. And this is actually added as a contact inside of Cayzu. Down below is the agent who is taking care of it. Now there's this peculiar take it button right here, which I haven't figured out what it does. You can see over in the right-hand corner that's going to run a void script. So perhaps this is if you were to change the agent, but I don't have any other agents set up. So I could do that right here. I could remove that and add another one. Let's try, even if I just add in myself and then hit ticket. Yeah, it still says void over here, so nothing really happens when I click it. The status, we can change the status of the support ticket, whether we're working on it, whether we've resolved it. I've got it set to pending customer right now because I've just replied to them. We got the priority level. This is something, someone's site is down, I'm doing hosting. Maybe I'll make this urgent or high priority. If it's just a simple request, we can keep it low priority. We can group these together so that if you have different departments, you could have sales or we could have customer support, things like that. We could have different agents assigned to different groups. Then we have the types. So we can, again, go ahead and configure these a little bit later on, but the default types that it gives us is issues, complaints, feature requests, and inquiries. And the sources will connect up in a little bit here. We can tag these if we want to find relevant, similar requests in the future. If there are dependencies, things that need to happen before resolution can take place, we can add them here, and we can see the other tickets that John Doe has submitted down below. Currently, there are none. We can add a due date if we like, and we can also track time here. So pretty feature rich. Now I can keep this ticket window open on update, or I could also have it automatically close when I update. So I'm just going to go ahead and, I've already sent the email. I'll go ahead and just close out of this window. I don't really need anything further here. There is a merge option. So if maybe a customer had submitted a second request that was really related to the first one, I can go ahead and combine those tickets together so that it's clear that you're working on the same issue. Maybe someone's got an issue with a plugin on their website, and then the next day, rather than replying to the original ticket, they go ahead and submit an additional ticket on that same issue. This would allow you to combine them together. We can see the revision history right here. If I click these triple dots, I can see the timesheet. I can create an article based on the ticket. I can link assets. Let's go ahead and check that out. No assets are linked to this requester. I'm not sure what that means. Let's go ahead and we'll dig into that a little later as well. We can print the ticket or delete it. And over here, we've got this cloud icon, and this allows us to see the information about the contact over here. So this is the ticket section, kind of the overview screen, and I can click into the individual tickets down below. If we were to go ahead and mark this one as resolved, then on the ticket window, we will see 0 unsolved tickets. However, if I click this little disclosure triangle over here on the left, I can see all of the tickets that have already been resolved and the different status updates for other ones, things that are past due, so on and so forth. All right, moving over to this left-hand sidebar, the next section is for articles. So let's say I've got questions that continue to come up about a certain topic. I could go ahead and create a knowledge base article about that. Let's go ahead and do that right now. I'll go under General. Let's see, there's an FAQ section. Let's go ahead and edit that. This is a pretty simple word processor type interface. I can go ahead and change the title of the article right here. I could write some text. Okay, so I just went ahead and added 3 frequently asked questions. So we can go ahead and format this document and maybe see some limitations of the platform in its current state. So how do I cancel the service is my first frequently asked question. Maybe I want to bold that. In fact, I would actually like that to be a little bit bigger. Let's go ahead and change the size there. That looks a little too big. Maybe I'll make it 1 lower, 18, that looks good. Let's go ahead and do that same formatting for all of these questions. I could change the overall font. If I just select everything, there are some built-in fonts. These are just kind of your normal system fonts. But the real limitation, as I see it, is that I can't actually create a link. Typically, if there's not an icon, you could press Command K or Control K if you're on a PC, and then maybe a little dialog box should pop up. But it's very common in an FAQ that you want to help people navigate to a particular part of your website. So it would be nice to be able to include some more, features here. This is a really, really bare bones type of article section. Oh, hey, it's Dave from the future here. I'm interrupting this video to let you know that while I was editing this video, I thought, hey, I wonder if I could use HTML to add links to my articles. So I logged back into Cayzu, and lo and behold, they have completely redone the editor in the last hour. Literally just finished recording this video. Took a little bit of a break before I started editing it, logged back in, and look at this. We've got a link option. We've got options to add photos. Of course, the other options that were there before still exist. There is also the ability to view the HTML block. So you've got lots more options. It's a lot more full-featured than it was when I recorded this just an hour ago. We can actually upload attachments right here too with a maximum 50 megabyte limit. So pretty cool. And then under Who Can View, we have the option between all users, meaning it would be publicly available on the web. Logged in users would be people who have set up an account with your support system, or agents only would be an internal document so that no customers could see it, but maybe you would give your agents some advice on how to handle particular situations. If I wanted to create an article from scratch, there's an Add Article button up here. I can also add a folder or a subfolder to kind of nest things in, as you saw over in the left-hand sidebar. The next section down is for contacts. This will show you all of the people who have contacted you through your help desk. So here's John Doe. We dealt with his ticket right at the beginning of the video. I could add contacts in manually, but they will show up as someone submits a ticket. So it's probably the way that you're going to add things. After clicking on their name, I can see all of their contact information that's been entered. Of course, I could fill this out manually if I really wanted to have everything here. And then down below, I can see any active tickets or tickets that they've submitted in the past. There's the option to delete the contact entirely if you have a customer who left and you want to forget they ever existed. In the report screen, we can see an overview of how quickly we're responding to cases and the volume of cases that are coming in. There are some filters up here, but by default, I'm seeing everything from the past week. I can see I've received 2 tickets and I've resolved them both. I've got no open tickets right now, no tickets that have been reopened or reassigned. And then this part's a little confusing to me. It's the average response time, the initial response time, the resolution time. I'm not really sure what these numbers mean because I would think, it'd either be like 0.3 hours, but this is like a colon. So I'm not sure whether they're saying, I responded to these pretty quickly upon creating the account. It definitely wasn't 30 minutes. So I'm not sure exactly what format they're using for time here. The average customer interaction, I've got 0, and the average agent interaction is 1, which would mean kind of a one-to-one basis. There is a boatload of other reports we can look through here. The help desk load analysis. We've got a bulk look at the number of tickets that have been submitted. We've got a report on ticket volume, tickets by tags, open tickets by requester, the satisfaction. So after someone submits a ticket and it's resolved, they can get an email that asks them to talk about their experience, whether it's a positive, neutral, or negative experience. And we can also schedule an export. So if we want to get this information out of Cayzu, we could do that here. So that was all of the ticket reports. We also have agent reports. So we can get a summary of how our agents are doing. Now, as I mentioned, I've only got one agent configured right now. So we're only seeing me right here, but you can see the different groups. Now, again, we only have one group set up. We'll look at how to configure those in just a moment. The filters are for basically dates. You can choose between the last quarter, last month, this month, so on and so forth. We can run that report and then export it over to Excel so you can see who is a top performer and who might be needing a little bit of additional coaching to catch up with the rest of the pack. Over in the timesheet section, you can view the number of hours that have been tracked. So this is actually a really cool feature. Let's say you're doing website care and maintenance, and with your monthly retainer fee, you're giving everyone 3 hours of updates per month. Well, this will allow you to keep track of how much each company has used so that you don't have to rely on any sort of outside or third-party services. Everything can be done right as you're getting the support tickets. You can click on that time tracking button like we saw at the beginning of the video and then show the timesheets here at the end of the month so that you know what to invoice your clients for. The other reports we have are starting off with article analysis. This will allow you to see which of your help articles are actually deemed helpful by the people who are viewing them, which ones get clicked the most often. You can see there's a star rating as well as votes and clicks over here. Next up is the SLA report. That stands for Service Level Agreement. That's essentially what level of service you have agreed to provide to your clients. So this could be a certain number of tickets per month, a certain amount of time that you're providing them. This will allow you to track all of that inside of one reporting dashboard. Next up, we have an asset report. So if we're including assets, we can see what is getting used here. And then finally, we have recent activity. So we can just kind of see what's been going on over the report. Now, I will note that none of these last three reports seem to have any activity in them, even though I did have some information. We did answer a ticket. So it's very interesting that this is showing 0 here. I'm not sure, maybe this report gets updated periodically, maybe daily or something like that. I'm just speculating. I don't exactly know how that works. All right, so let's move on from reports. And actually, I'm going to skip over this next item, which is the end user portal. We'll come back to that, and let's actually go to the admin section so we can start to configure this to match our brand. All right, so here is my full name. I can give myself a title like Support Hero. Then we've got email address, Twitter username. My Twitter username is David Swift, I think. That's how much I use Twitter. I can enter my work number, my alternate number, and my billing rate per hour. All right, next up, we can see that I'm assigned to the general group. And down below, we've got help desk access, whether I have full access, group access, which means that I can only view items inside of a particular group, or limited access, which means I can only view tickets if they are assigned to me. And in terms of security, we've got two options. An administrator can do anything on the system, or an agent, which can only view and update tickets that they have access to based on the settings above. All right, so let's go ahead and leave things as they are right now. I'm going to go back out to the agent's roles and group settings. And you can see here, this is where I can add a new agent, a new role, or a new group. So I'm going to start off by adding a new group. I'll call this group support. Next up, we have some rules. The first one is auto-assign tickets, and it'll do in a round-robin fashion, meaning if you have 5 agents and 5 tickets come in, each agent will get assigned 1 ticket. But if I don't want to choose that, I can also set it up so that if a ticket remains unassigned for a certain duration, it will automatically generate an email. Next up, let's talk about adding a new role. You can see if I click right here, I can add a new role. This is essentially another way to give even more granular control to what your agents are capable of doing. Let's say I give someone a sales support role, and these people are only allowed to help customers who are in the sales process. Maybe I want these sales agents to be able to send replies, but not delete anything inside of the platform. I could allow them to assign the ticket to somebody else if it's outside of their pay grade, or even merge tickets, but maybe I will disable recent activity and manage time, as they might work on commission and just get paid when a new sale is made. Maybe I want to hide my contacts from them because I don't want them to start contacting people directly. Well, I can do that right over here. I can hide the contacts tab. I can stop their ability to edit contacts and their ability to delete contacts. Now I've got 3 different user roles. I've got administrators, agents, and sales support. So if I go back over to my agents and edit my profile once again, before when we looked at this, I only had 2 options. And you can see down here that now I have a 3rd option. So you can really get this exactly as you need it for your system. The next section is called products, and this will allow us to add the different products that we provide support for. So let's go ahead and add a new product here. As an example, let's say I'm a web designer and I provide website updates, but I also do SEO services. Well, I could say website update as a product name. And in description, I will say request a website update. We'll save this. And let's add one more product here. I'll say SEO optimization. And then for the description, I will say request that an article is optimized for SEO. Great, now I've got 2 different products here. We'll see what that means when we look at the end user portal in a little bit. Moving down to the personalization section, here's where we can edit our brands. Let's go ahead and manage this. I can manage multiple brands from the single help desk console, which is a really nice feature. Go ahead and add a brand here. We've got the option to add a personalized URL here. So I could say something like helpdesk.clientamp.com, and then I would just create a CNAME record to point to this article right here. Let me go ahead and do that. So here I am inside of DNS Made Easy. This is where I manage my DNS records. If you purchase your domain name from GoDaddy or Namecheap, you would log in there to do this. I'm just going to go ahead and enter in the help desk subdomain. So you can see here that for the record, helpdesk.clientamp.com, it will point to, and I'm going to paste in that URL they provided me. On DNS Made Easy, I need to add a period here so that it doesn't continue at the clientamp.com domain. I'll go ahead and submit this, and I should be good to go. All right, let's go ahead and test out that domain that we created. So if you remember, it was helpdesk.clientamp.com. Hit enter here. And sure enough, it does load up Cayzu. I'm going to go ahead and log in here. And because I'm an administrator, it actually just logs me in as an agent so that I can go ahead and get right to any unsolved tickets. Perfect. Back over in Cayzu, I can force SSL. Let's go ahead and check that. And I can enable reCAPTCHA if I'd like. I'm going to leave that off for now. Next up, we've got the favicon. I can go ahead and change this. I'm going to upload my favicon here. Now we have the from name and from email address. Let's go ahead and set this up to be from client amp. That's the brand I am setting up right now, as well as the from email address. We'll call this support@clientamp.com. So the next option here is actually very important. So I assume most people watching this are probably going to want to have a support email address like this, and then be able to receive email tickets inside of Cayzu. Well, in order to do that, you actually need to set up this email address to forward to this email address that they provide you. So you'll do this, like if you're using Gsuite, you'll do this by creating what they call a group and then forwarding those groups' emails to this email address. I'll actually do that for you right now because it's really that important. So here is a Gsuite admin panel. What you're going to want to do is log into yours and then go over to where it says groups. Next, we're going to click right up here where it says create group. Under group details, we can call this support or whatever fits your brand. We don't need to enter anything for a description here, but the group email will be important. We'll enter the same email address that we entered in over in Cayzu. Next, you have to give your group an owner, which is probably going to be the administrative account or whatever you'd like to assign here. And then we'll hit next. In the access type, you're going to want to make sure that you choose external publish posts. This is going to allow people from outside of your Gsuite organization to also be able to contact this group. Don't worry, it's not going to make anything public online or anything. It's just going to allow those emails to go through. Everything else should look like this. Make sure your checkboxes match mine. As far as anyone in the organization can join, we'll say anyone in the organization can ask, and we can also allow outside members of our organization. So that's actually important because the email address that's provided over in the setup for Cayzu is not obviously part of your Gsuite organization. Let's go ahead and create a group, and let's add some members to that group. I'll hit the plus button here, and I'm going to paste in that email address and choose add to group. It says that the member has been added, but it might take some time for the changes to reflect. Let's go ahead and reload the page. And sure enough, there it is. Now, what's going to happen is that anytime someone emails support@clientamp.com, it's actually going to forward the email over to this email address right here. But it's also going to send it to me personally, and I don't really want that. So I'm going to go ahead and remove myself from the group. Click Remove Member. And again, it says it might take some time for the changes to reflect. I guess Google doesn't have that tech yet to update automatically. So let's refresh the page, and there we go. Now, don't worry, I can still change and add members here, even though this is outside of my organization. There's really no security threat to having this be the only member of the group. All right, let's test out that email address. So we set up support@clientamp.com. I've got an email right here. I'm just going to go ahead and send it in. You can see that it's going to support@clientamp.com. I'll double click here so you can see the email address. I'm going to go ahead and hit send. And in a few seconds here, we should see this show up as a brand new ticket inside of Cayzu. I'm going to go ahead and just refresh the page. Well, there's a little refresh button right there. I'll hit that. And sure enough, here we go. The ticket shows up right away. Let's go ahead and open this up, and just a couple things I didn't mention the first time we were taking a look at the inside of a ticket. There are something called internal notes, and these are really great if you've got multiple agents and you're kind of going back to trying to troubleshoot a problem for a customer. You can have an internal conversation that is separate from the actual email exchange you have with your customer. So these are internal notes. I could write a message here. No one would see it other than the other agents who have access to this ticket. But if I wanted to reply back to the customer, I simply go back to this reply mode. I think this is a really nice interface for addressing support tickets. All right, back over to our settings. A few more options to take a look at here. If we'd set up one brand before and we wanted to copy over some of the email templates, we could do that right here where it says copy email templates from, and I can see the other brands that I've got loaded in, which is just a Profitable Tools brand. The next section is to add a confirmation message so that when someone submits a ticket via the end user customer portal, they'll see a nice message to know that things have been received. I'm just gonna leave that blank for right now. We can add in a billing rate as well as a phone number right here, set up your primary language. Let's say we did Italian and English here. I could go ahead and add Italian as a language that we can support, but our primary language is English. You get the idea. I'm gonna turn that off because I actually can't speak any Italian at all. Moving on to social integration. Now, I'm a little disappointed to not see Facebook on this list, as it was something that was on the Cayzu website, but however, it's not here. So let's go ahead and set up a Twitter account and see how that works. Go ahead and hit add Twitter account. I'll go ahead and authorize this Twitter account. So now I've got my Twitter account linked up. This will allow me to respond to customers with a tweet or message directly from within the help desk. We will take a look at how that Twitter integration works in a second, but let's finish up our settings here. Next up, we have app integrations. Here you can connect your help desk to several different platforms, including Dropbox or FreshBooks if you're doing some bookkeeping. You can also use HubSpot so that your help desk and your CRM stay in sync. You get the idea here. There's several integrations. Looks like there's about 2.5 pages worth. We've got QuickBooks Online, some live chat from Olark or live chat, LogMe and Rescue to do screen sharing. We've got Sugar CRM, Sweet CRM, Zoho CRM, all good platforms here. SurveyMonkey is available, Zapier, so you can get your information out and put it into just about anything with Zapier. And then another live chat here that's popular, Talk. I kind of like that they didn't try to build all of this themselves and simply just integrated with the services that you're probably already using. Next up, let's look at single sign-on for end users, and we also have single sign-on for agents. The basic idea here is it's going to allow you, if you have another platform that you're using, let's say your main website where your customers go and purchase your products, you can set up an integration so that when they're logged in on your website, they're automatically logged into your help desk. This will need a little bit of technical configuration to do so, but if you have a developer on your team, it should be no problem. The options for agent, single sign-on are identical to the end user. You just would want to configure them independently. And under the security tab, you can generate an API key, and you can also filter out IP addresses from unknown people so that you can have your agents logging in, but no one else is allowed to try to log in as an agent. Just keeps your platform a little bit more secure. All right, we've made it through the settings. We still have some configuration options to look at, but let's go ahead and dig a little deeper into that social integration. So I've got it following the Twitter account ClientAmp LLC. I'm gonna go ahead and just send a tweet to that Twitter account using my own personal account. All right, so here's the tweet. I'm gonna go ahead and click send. All right, now I'm not sure how quickly Cayzu will be able to monitor that tweet and then create a new ticket based on it. I would suspect they're going to check maybe every 5 or 15 minutes. Let's go ahead and click right away here, and you can see there's no ticket created yet. It's not going to be happening like every 5 seconds or something like that. So let's give this a moment, and I will cut right now and let you know how long it took for this tweet to show up. So it's been over an hour since I submitted that tweet. And unfortunately, nothing has come through. So I'm not sure if it's a configuration issue on my end, or maybe this isn't really that functional quite yet. All right, so we already took a look at how to manage brands. The next option over is the email setup. Now, this is different than when we set up the forwarding. This is actually how you're handling emails within of Cayzu. I'm going to choose the brand that I want to work on, which is Client Amp. And now here are the email inbox setup options. Now up top, this is what we set up before. This is the support email. I can change that right here. However, down below, this is where we can set up email templates. So we can have an agent reply to customers. You can see all the different types of templates. There are 13 that you can go through and edit. So an agent reply to customer, I can go ahead and turn that on or off. And then here is the default template reply. A new reply was added to the ticket, and then it actually inserts the reply right here. So you can see that you're gonna kind of use this dynamic tag. What you type in the field will be inserted here, and that's gonna have this kind of signature down below, instructing them to log into the help desk portal or click a link. So once again, you can configure these templates to be however you want. And when you create new brands, you can copy them over from brand to brand so you're not constantly revising things. Back over in the admin hub, the next option over is the business rules. This is where we can create our SLA policies. We saw the reports for this earlier. So here's where we actually set up what we're trying to do. So for an urgent task, we're trying to respond within 1 minute. For a high priority task, maybe you want to respond within, I don't know, let's say 1 hour. For a medium task within, how about 8 hours, and a low task within 24 hours. So those are how we set up our targets. Then when we run the report, we can see how we're actually doing in terms of, living up to our expectations that we set for our customers. Back out to our business rules, we can also set up some hours of operation right here so that our customers know that we are going to reply within 1 hour, but during certain open hours, right? So we're not going to be available 24/7. Add hours of operation right here. We just get this nice little toggle screen. We can say, oh, okay, we're closed on Saturday and Sunday, and we are open only until, let's say, 3 o'clock on Fridays. We like to take a longer weekend, and we can add our holidays in right here. We can just call this standard operating hours. Let's add a description and go ahead and save this. All right, there we go. We've got our standard option as well as the default settings. Now I'd want to obviously choose the hours that I just updated. So I click over here and turn that one on. Back out to the admin hub. We have assignment rules. Let's go ahead and manage these. So what this allows us to do is set up rules to automatically assign tickets to agents based on customized criteria. Now, I'll give you an example here. Let's say I have 2 agents. One does SEO optimization and the other does those website updates. Remember, we created products earlier on in this video. Well, I could set up a condition that when a product, let's go down here to products, and then I could choose, let's say, a website update. Then it's going to go assign it to a particular agent, right? So I'm going to get the website update emails. You get the idea. You can really customize this to be very specific to the nature of your business. The other options we have here are brands. So if you're managing multiple brands, you have maybe one agent who's assigned to 5 or 6 different brands. You could do that right here. We could have a subject or a description. There is source. So if you have someone assigned to Twitter, you could manage that. And if you didn't want to assign it to a particular agent, you could also assign it to a group. All right, I'm going to cancel out of this because I don't want to actually set up this group, but you get the idea. Very, very flexible way to make sure your tickets get into the right hands as quickly as possible. Custom fields, this is going to be very important to a lot of businesses. We can add some new custom fields here. So we can do a label, a single line, a number, paragraph text, checkbox, dropdown, calendar, a dependent field so that something is required if you answer something else, and a company list. When you add these, they will be available inside of forms. So let's say I want to create a customer support form. So when people have a question, they fill out a form. Gets automatically sent to my support tickets. But everybody who signs up that form, I do need to get let's say a phone number from them. So I can choose number and then agent field name. This label will be displayed to agents in their help desk portal. So I'll say phone number and then the end user field name. So I can give it something different if I want. If I leave it blank, it will default to the agent field name. I can say this is required to create a ticket and it's required when closing a ticket. For now, I'll just leave it as when creating a ticket and it is displayed to the customer. All right, I'll go ahead and save this. So that was custom fields for forms, but I can also add custom fields to a company. Let's say I wanted to track something specific about the company. I can add a new field here. I can also do it on a contact level, or I could simply add a field to an asset. In that same vein, here are our custom forms. Let's go ahead and manage this. I'll choose the brand I'm working on. And now I can set up a custom form. I can give the form an icon. There are some options here. Let's say I wanted to choose this magnifying glass. I'll select that. Here's where I can add the custom field that I just created. It would be nice if they had the option to add a custom field right from this screen, but they don't. So let's go ahead and add this and it should show up here in my form. And here are the visible fields. By default, it's going to show the email address, the type of request that they're submitting, the priority level, the subject line, the description, and the phone number, which I just added. I have these hidden fields with default values, which are the product, the source, the due date, the tag, and the groups. So if I wanted to turn on, say, the product, I could do that right here, and now it's added up into this field. I can reorganize these. I can just drag them around and you see the icon of the mouse changes. So let's put the product up top by the email address. And here's my form looking for help. If you remember when we looked at the help ticket at the beginning of the video, we have some drop-down menus, things like status, pending support, and they have all these different options. Or there's type. What type of help ticket is it? That's what that really means. Is it an issue, a complaint, a feature request, an inquiry? Or there's also priorities, low, medium, high, and urgent. Now you might not need all of these for your business, or you might have different requirements and want to change the wording. And that's what this next section is all about. You can actually customize everything that's available in those lists right here where it says custom list. When you manage, you can see complaint, feature request, inquiry, or issue. I could either remove some of these or add new ones very simply right here just by adding a new name. I'm not going to do that right now, but you get the idea. I can also change the status. So we have, maybe I'm not going to use duplicate because I would just merge them if they're duplicates, right? I could remove that one if I wanted to. I could change the sources. So if I'm not going to be using phone, I could remove this one. And then the last option is for time and billing tasks. If you remember in our ticket over here, let's find the one we recently closed. If I hit this add time button to log the hours that I worked on something, I can choose the task that I was actually working on over here, on-site visit, a phone call, a setup, support, travel time, and troubleshooting. That'll allow me to log the hours that I'm spending on each client. And once again, those options are over in the admin panel, then the custom list, and choose time and billing tasks. And you'll see all of the same ones we just mentioned. All right, next up is assets. Now, I've alluded to assets a few times throughout this video, but I haven't really explained what they are. The idea of an asset in Cayzu is anything that your company owns or one of your clients owns that you might want to assign to a support ticket. Now, this is interesting in practice. I could see some actual use cases. Let's say you're a contractor and you have a lot of heavy machinery and you want to keep track of what gets used on a certain job. Well, you could create a support ticket and assign equipment there, and you can kind of keep track things that way. That's how I would ideally see it being used. However, I find that using assets inside of Cayzu is actually kind of convoluted. The way it works is you create custom fields for the assets. So let's say I had company cars and I wanted to create a listing of the make and model of the company cars that I have. Well, I would do that over here by just creating, we did this a moment ago. We created some custom fields. I choose assets over here and I can add new fields. All the same options are available to you. If you want to choose calendar, drop-down menu, all of that is available. Okay, so you set that up and then you go back over to assets, and from here, you don't actually add the items that you own. Instead, you add asset categories. So I added company vehicles. And now at this point, you would go in and you would actually create a company and then assign the assets to the company. From there, I'm not really sure what to do because the only way I can get this to work is if the person who created the ticket is actually the person who has the asset assigned. So I'll show you what I mean. Let's go ahead and add a company, and we'll add client amp. And let's add the email domain, clientamp.com. This is actually a nice feature when you're creating a company. Anyone who emails with that domain name will automatically be assigned to the company. All right, here is the company, and I can click on it and then add an asset. Let's create a new car here. I don't have to have a contact, but I will assign a company vehicle, and we'll call this Zoom, and it'll be a Tesla Roadster. All right, so we've got, you could have car number 1, car number 2, however you want to manage your company vehicles, add maybe the make, model, VIN number, license plate. That all seems to make a lot of sense to me. Now, when I think of internet support desks, I'm not necessarily thinking of equipment. So this is definitely getting me thinking about this platform a little bit differently. I'm thinking more about serving software or development and things like that. All right, now if I go over to my tickets here, what I would like to be able to do is say, all right, I work for ClientAmp, and I'm going to use my company car to drive out to you to service your equipment, right? And there is a way to link actual assets to the support tickets, so linked assets. However, it doesn't work for the person who is actually, supplying the tools. So I'm the agent. I've got assets available to me. I want to be able to use it on this ticket. And I haven't quite figured out how that works. And even getting to this point was so confusing. I can't see anyone actually using it for this purpose. So I think Cayzu would be kind of better off just kind of scrapping the assets altogether and maybe focusing more on just the support tickets. Supporting more social platforms would be a good idea. All right, let's blast through a few more categories here. We have quick responses. Let's manage these. So the idea here would be canned responses so that you can quickly get back to people. We've received your message. We'll get back to you shortly. Let's save this. And now back over in a ticket, if I've received a message and I just want to use one of those canned responses, there's a little search icon up here. Now it would be nice if they just gave me something to click on, but I actually have to start typing before I can see it. We've received your message, right? Here we go. So now I can fire that off without having to type the whole thing each time. Now that example is a little confusing. You might want to put more detailed technical answers at questions that people ask all the time. I don't want to confuse this with the email setup that we did before, where you can go in here and actually choose, okay, request your email. So someone sent in an email, we could have something like a new ticket template that automatically gets fired off that says, we've got your support ticket. So that's probably a bad example to show you how the short replies or the canned responses work, but you get the idea. All right, let's finally talk about this end user portal. Let's go ahead and manage this, and we'll see what it looks like after we're done doing that. So we've got the ability to sign in and allow people to sign in using different platforms, Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, Cayzu, and single sign-on. We've got some security options here that users can only submit tickets when they're logged in or not. You can toggle that. And you can also set it up so that only tickets can be created by companies or domains that are already in the contact system. That's a nice way to kind of filter everybody out from submitting junk. As for the actual display of the user portal, there are some toggle switches to change what content is displayed. But here we go. This is what it generally looks like. Not super overwhelmingly beautiful. We can customize this page by adding a different cover image if we want. We just upload that here. We can edit the title and the subtitle here. We can choose the different categories for our knowledge base. We have a sign up section. We can again edit all this text. We've got 4 little areas that we want to talk about what we do. Our response time is great. We can edit all of this. You can't change the icons, which is kind of silly. Then there's some information about the support desk, feedback or suggestions, and then a link to create a new ticket. Let's go ahead and click on that. And here's what the ticket request form looks like. So enter an email address, you can fill out this form and you're good to go. Honestly, I probably wouldn't even use this end user portal. I would most likely just have people email support@theemailaddress.com. I think that's most comfortable for most people because they already know how to use email and they don't have another website to learn and log into. However, if you do want to use this portal, here's what you can change. You can turn off the powered by, which is off by default. That's a good touch. You can show the timesheet report on the end user portal. That's nice if you're letting your clients keep track of how much time they're being billed for. You can hide the search, submit request link. We can hide the sign up section. I think that is a good idea. The 4 feedback panels, the category section. I can turn most of this off and probably make it a little bit more bare bones, but really just, get the point across of, hey, you can submit a request. Let's see what that looks like now. For some reason, the full page is still loading. Let me try this in an incognito window. There we go, that's working. So I must have just been a caching issue, or maybe because I was logged in as the administrator. However, now I can just go ahead and hit submit a request up here and enter my question in. All right, we just have 5 more categories to get through. Here are ticket settings. This is going to allow you to do things like automatically close tickets after a certain number of days. You can also allow email attachments, which isn't generally a good idea. You can assume billable hours. You can use custom fields and email templates. Start the numbering system on a particular number. Let's say you are migrating from a different platform and you want to keep consistency from the ticket numbers that you are on to your new system. We can set up our time zone. We can CC an address when we're answering tickets. So if you had a supervisor that wanted to monitor support requests, you could do that. And you can BCC the request as well. I guess that would be better for the supervisor. The CC would be maybe for like the company lead or something like that, or the team lead, excuse me. The support widget. The support widget is going to allow you to embed a support widget on your website. This might be better than using the subdomain company portal, because then you can just have a link right on your website. Let's go ahead and throw this up. I've got a new page on the website here. I'm going to do an HTML block, custom HTML, paste this in. It's on a WordPress website, obviously. Let's go ahead and publish this and let's view the page. There we go. There is our form. It's kind of it's an iframe, right? So we've got this little scrolling mechanism inside of the scrolling mechanism, which isn't ideal, but you can kind of fit the whole thing in here. All right, so the embeddable widget, it works, it's functional, it's not mind-blowing or anything, but there it is. You can also add some custom CSS by linking to the URL of your CSS file right here. Manage tags is exactly what you'd suspect. If you've added tags as you're going through tickets, you can go through and manage them right here. You can add tags ahead of time if you want your support staff to be using them as they go. Next up is satisfaction. This is going to be an automatically generated email that will go out after support tickets are closed. So let's see what this is all about. So automatically send satisfaction survey after tickets have been resolved. This is off by default. You can set it to be immediately or 24 hours later. I actually prefer 24 hours later, because when you're getting customer service and then you get like 3 emails because someone's replied, someone's closed the ticket, and then they've sent you a customer satisfaction survey, that in itself is irritating. So space those out a little bit. And if I had a good, experience with you, maybe I will reply. I mean, you'd have to test and see what gets you the most feedback, because you definitely want to know whether people are appreciating your customer service or not, whether you need to tweak that. And then finally, a whitelist, blacklist. This is going to allow you to filter out people or allow people to contact you. So we can add a whitelist. The idea would be that the email is or contains a particular domain name or word or something like that. Or blacklist would be, hey, anyone from this domain cannot get through, or this person cannot get through. They're spamming us, they're annoying us, they're an old angry client, they're, whatever it is, you can filter that out. All right, so that's it. You should now understand all of the features that are available to you inside of Cayzu and understand what it looks like for your customers to use the product. Now, I do want to point out one kind of glaring omission in my mind. There are no user assignable SPF records or DKIM records from the back end of Cayzu. Now, I find that to be a pretty important thing in terms of email deliverability, meaning when you reply to a customer support ticket, you want to make sure that hits the inbox so your customers don't think you're ignoring them. Looking at the Cayzu Help Docs, they do have a support request where you can actually get some DMARC records configured to ensure higher deliverability. If you're going to be using Cayzu at a large scale capacity, I definitely would want to do that. I'd also keep an eye on deliverability. Just make sure you're hitting that inbox, because it is very, very critical to providing good support. All right, that's going to do it. Once again, if you found this video helpful, make sure you click the like button. If you're going to go ahead and make a purchase, you can use my link down below. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but the channel will earn a commission if you click before buying. All right, thanks so much for watching this video. I will see you in the next one.